People visiting New York for the first time are often surprised to see so many very rich people and so many very poor people living in the same city. The good and the bad, the best and the worst. You can find it all in New York. So remember what kind of listening comprehension you have seen till now, and come here. In this video, firstly, we'll have a reading full of fascinating facts about New York. So listen carefully. Then we will have a quiz to analyze your comprehension. And at the end of the video, there will be a part that you will both enjoy and learn lots of things. Bright lights, big city. New York City is the largest city in the United States. It is in New York State and it has a population of more than 7 million people. Since the 1920s, people have called New York the Big Apple. Entertainers, musicians, and athletes all wanted to perform in New York City. And they used to say, there are many apples on the tree, but when you pick New York City, you pick the Big Apple. That's how it got the name. New York City has 5 parts: Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island, and the Bronx. These parts are the 5 boroughs of New York. Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, and Staten Island are all on islands. The Bronx is part of the mainland. Manhattan is the city's commercial center. It is a very small area, only about 228 square miles, but it is the center of much of the wealth and power in the United States. It has some of the tallest buildings in the world, which are called skyscrapers because they reach up and touch or scrape the sky. Where to go and what to do in New York? What can I do in New York? It depends on how much time and money you have. No matter how long you are in New York, you can never see and do everything. There are more than 200 museums in New York City. Some of the most famous ones are the Metropolitan Museum of Art, the Museum of Modern Art, the Guggenheim Museum, and the Natural History Museum. New York is also the home of Broadway, the theater district, where there are hundreds of large and small theaters with plays for every taste. It's the home of Lincoln Center, where you can see operas and ballets and listen to all kinds of music. If you like sports, you can see professional baseball, basketball, ice hockey, tennis, and so on. New York has something to offer everyone. If you are interested in finance and business, you can visit one of the stock exchanges in the financial district in Lower Manhattan and see stocks and bonds being bought and sold. No matter what kind of food you like, you can find it in New York. There are thousands of restaurants that serve specialties from all over the world, for example, Chinese, Indian, Italian, French, Japanese, Brazilian, and Arabic. And if you like fashion, you can find any style you want in New York, no matter where it comes from. People often say, if you can't get it in New York, it doesn't exist. The people. What are New Yorkers like? First of all, there's no typical or average New Yorker. They come in all colors, shapes, and sizes because they come from countries all over the world. English, of course, is the main language in New York, but you often hear Spanish, French, Russian, Chinese, Arabic, and many other languages in the city. It is very useful to know more than one language in New York. New York is truly a city of immigrants, and they bring their languages, traditions, and customs with them. In less than an hour, you can walk from Chinatown to Little Italy and then to Orchard Street, which is a street full of Jewish shops on the Lower East Side. You can continue on to East 6th Street, a street full of Indian shops and restaurants. Without spending a penny or taking a ship or a plane, you can enjoy the experience of moving from one culture to another completely different one in just minutes. This is just one of the many interesting and unusual things that people like about New York. Why do so many immigrants come here? Two important reasons are economic and the educational opportunities. They want to get good jobs so they can make a better life for themselves and their children. They come to New York for educational opportunities. Also, in addition to the elementary schools and high schools, there are many vocational schools and colleges and universities in New York. Immigrants can study English along with other subjects, and they can often get financial aid from the government to help them pay for their education. New York is truly a city of opportunities. Rich and poor. It is true that New York has many people with a lot of money, and these wealthy people can afford beautiful houses and apartments. They often have limousines and chauffeurs to drive them wherever they want to go. They can afford to buy the finest and most expensive clothing and go to the best restaurants, nightclubs, and theaters. They can buy whatever they want because they can afford to pay for it. Unfortunately, New York is not a city of opportunity for everyone. There are also many people in New York who have very little or no money. Many of them live in poor, rundown apartments in dangerous areas full of crime. Some people don't have any place to live, and these homeless people live in the streets. They often sleep in the subway and train stations and in the public parks. People visiting New York for the first time are often surprised to see so many very rich people and so many very poor people living in the same city. The good and the bad, the best and the worst. You can find it all in New York. If you enjoyed the text, hit the like button, please. So let's go on with vocabulary, population, the number of people in a city, state, country, etc. Athlete, one who plays sports involving physical ability. Borough, a section of New York City. Mainland, landmass not including islands. Commercial, referring to business. Square means with four sides of equal length. Skyscraper, a very tall building, depends to need to use for help. The next word, famous, known by many people. District, a particular area. Crime, something that is against the law. Rundown, in a poor condition. And the word homeless, without a place to live. Chauffeur, one who drives other people in a special car like limousine. Limousine, an expensive car operated by a paid driver. Effort, to have enough money for something. Financial aid means money to help pay for school. Vocational, pertaining to a job or career training. Stock exchange, a place where parts of companies are bought and sold. Finance, the study of money and how it is controlled in business. Specialty, a type of food that is popular for its good qualities. And the last word, typical, means common. So, I'm sure this part will really amaze you, understanding ideas and vocabulary. Some of these statements are true and some of them are not true. Read each statement carefully. Write true or false in each blank. A. New York is the largest city in the United States. Is it false or true? It's true. B. New York has more than 10 million people. It's false. It's 7 million people. More than 7 million people are in New York. C. The 5 boroughs of New York are all on islands. It's false because one of them are mainland, not island. And the last one, many people in New York come from other countries. Tell me the answer in the comments. Is it false or true?